Welcome to the Shine Speakeasy, the quiet corner of the dance mom world where we trade perfection for presence. This is where we exhale, reflect, and remember that showing up just as we are is more than enough. I've been a mom for a few years now, and if there's one thing I've learned is that we need a room like this. If you're listening to this in January, there is a good chance that your body already knows competition season is coming, even if the calendar says it's still early. Before the bags are packed, before the weekends are full, many of us are already bracing. Today isn't about fixing competition season. It's about noticing how we enter it. When I think about how I used to feel going into competition season, I would feel a massive migraine coming on, overwhelm, headaches, lists, packing. Did I get it right? Am I going to miss anything? There is a bracing that we don't even realize that we're doing. There's an unspoken belief in the dance world that competition season is something to quote unquote endure, something to survive, something you just get through. And so without realizing it, we're tightening up, we're getting that migraine, we're armoring up, we're emotionally preloading, not because something has happened yet, but because we're expecting it to. When I think about how I first started to feel like the season was going to be more difficult than it could be, was probably my first dance season. And when you're new, you just don't know who to talk to. Everything seems like it can be an unwritten rule or just something that you pick up along the way. That's not how it has to be. We're in this together. There's a bunch of support there. And so we want to make sure that we're leaning into that so that we don't have to do this emotionally overloading ourselves and bracing for the worst. Here's a truth that can be a bit uncomfortable. Anticipation often creates more stress than reality ever does. So we rehearse conversations we may never need to even have. We grieve outcomes that haven't happened, and by the time competition weekend arrives, we already are tired. Personally, I can feel the desire to want to carry emotionally how my dancer is going to feel throughout the season. This is her first dance season doing a solo. So if I'm not careful, I can start overloading myself and start having these negative conversations about outcomes that aren't even on the horizon. And that's not how we go from one season to the next, staying steady. What if this season you didn't enter guarded? What if you entered the season feeling steady? Steady doesn't mean that it's unrealistic for us. It doesn't mean pretending things won't feel big, because they will at times. What it does mean is that we're trusting ourselves enough to respond instead of prepare. A guarded nervous system is loud, but a steady one is responsive. Last competition season, I really was working actively hard to trust myself to be in the moment and meet those moments as they come. It wasn't being calm all the time. It wasn't even having the right words to say all of the time, but it was taking a step to look around, accept what was going on, and then trying to make the best educated guess, finding the best solution in the moment based off preparation that I've put in prior to. One of the biggest unlocks is when we start to release the need to hold it all together. This was a key unlock for me, and it feels quite freeing, honestly, as I'm maneuvering through this dance season. Somewhere along the way, us dance moms learned that competition season requires us to hold it all together. Be strong, don't crack, keep it moving. But what if the work this season isn't holding it together, but letting yourself be human inside it? We don't need to perform strength. We don't need to earn calm. We just need to be and be okay with whatever state we're in. January isn't about endurance. January isn't asking for us to do a mad dash or a sprint. is asking us to choose a tone. The tone we set now, not racing, not surviving, but grounded and present, will ripple us forward. We are allowed to enter this season gently. You're allowed to enter whole. When I talk about choosing a tone for the season, I'm not talking about a mindset you have to maintain. I'm not talking about being calm all the time, or positive, or grateful, or unbothered even. Tone isn't something that we perform. It's something that we can return to when the moment doesn't go the way that we've expected it to. Tone is what happens when we realize that we don't know the answer, when we forget something important, when we say the wrong thing, when we look around and think, I should probably have this more together than I do. And those moments happen. They're real. This is where tone actually lives. For a lot of us, the default tone in competition season has been control or hyper preparedness as a form of protection. And while preparedness can be helpful, and it certainly is, perfection is exhausting. And it quietly teaches us that there's no room to be human. The tone I've been working towards since last season is humility. Letting myself be human inside this role. Letting myself not know everything, letting myself mess up something without immediately turning inward with criticism. Not feeling like I have to be perfect for my dancer, not feeling like I have to have it all together, even for the other moms. When we talk about tone, we're really talking about how we treat ourselves in real time. Not in theory, not in hindsight, in the car, in the lobby, on the morning you realize something slipped your mind. And that's why I don't want this episode to end with a vague question you're supposed to think about and forget. Instead, here's something concrete that you can do. Choose one sentence that represents the tone you want to bring with you. Not something aspirational, something usable. Something you can reach for when your instinct is to brace or criticize yourself. It might be, I'm allowed to figure this out as I go. Or, I don't have to be perfect to be supportive. Or you could use, this moment doesn't require me to hold it together. I've definitely tapped into that one a few times in the last few weeks. Whatever your statement is that you choose, write it down. Put it in your notes app. Let it live somewhere you can come back to it. The sentence becomes your tone setter. Because competition season doesn't ask you to be flawless. It doesn't ask our dancers to be flawless either. It asks you to show up again and again. And showing up as a human with humility, presence, and compassion, I would add vulnerability, is more than enough. You don't need to brace for impact. You're allowed to enter the season just as you are. Thanks for slipping into the speakeasy with me. No passwords needed here. And I'll see you next time.